And welcome to Let the Bible Speak, where that's what we want to do. We want to let the Bible speak. There are a lot of different voices in this world that would lead us in different directions, but God hasn't left us without his own set of directions given to us in the scripture. And if you're like me, sometimes you've read the Bible or you want to read the Bible and it can seem like a chore, but I have found that the Lord speaks the most clearly to me through it. And so I always want to remember that, because if I'm reading it and I forget that, I feel like sometimes I'll miss out on hearing his voice into a situation. If you've ever listened to us before, we're not a Bible study per se. You're like, yes, we know. The people who've listened to us, they're like, yeah, we know. Y'all say let the Bible speak, but you talk a whole lot, which we do. But hopefully you will hear the scripture come alive out of the stories that you hear.
It's let the Bible speak into the situations that we are discussing.
Right. There's a caveat there. You've never read the subtitle.
That's it. We don't post the subtitle.
We don't post the subtitle.
We expect you to know it.
We expect you to know it. Well, I'm Josh Elder, and alongside of me is Mr. John William Chetta. John, I noticed that you
do that.
Sullivan. He's got 4 names. That's how pretentious he is.
That's awesome.
And taking up all the letters.
Yeah. I noticed
very powerful name on the board of Scrabble.
I noticed you're not wearing your sunglasses. Is it because of the comment that was made?
Just for that guy.
Yeah,
Let's do
guy.
it. No.
That's it.
No Theo Vaughn this episode.
Yeah. And we have a special guest with us on today. And Taylor, I heard just a little snippet.
Yeah.
This is kind of what I do, because so I heard a little snippet of your story on Bailey Metrogene's podcast, Bailey and Kristen, which was called Living on a Prayer, which they don't do anymore.
I know, and they should.
They
should bring it back.
I know.
Because them two,
I thought they were really
what a
good.
blessing that they are.
Dude. And I listened to it, and I was listening to the last episode, and I was like, they were like, all right, we're gonna take a break and can't. And I was sitting there, I was like, what?
It's like when they end the season early.
I know.
That's
like,
how it
why?
felt. Yeah, I still we need to get them back.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I nearly ran over Kristen at the moment that I was listening to that podcast. And I was like, my bad. I really would have ended the podcast at that point. So it's a crazy small world that would happen. But I heard a little bit of your testimony.
Yes.
And when you started telling your testimony, I was like, well, I don't want to listen to it because I got to ask them questions while it comes up, because I like it to be natural.
Absolutely.
When we're talking about what happened with you, but you and your wife both were on it, correct? You both had
me and my wife were both on it. So we kind of split it up where I told my story.
Yeah.
And then Kayla, who was my wife, she came in and did one by herself with the 2 girls, and I thought it was good. It was very good to get her side. I always love to hear her side, because at the time when I was going through it, I thought everything was okay.
Right.
I didn't know. I was blind to it, right?
Yeah. No. I mean, I think that's true. There's a lot of times, you don't know how somebody's looking at something.
No.
You know how you're looking at it. You know what I mean? But then all of a sudden, your wife can tell you, well, this is how I actually thought about everything that was going on, or and you're like, really? Why? You should have said something quicker, sooner.
I think that was really good for me to hear those things, because those things that she sat down and talked about that I still didn't know, and I was sober, however many years.
Yeah.
So that was a little process to go through,
Yeah.
But it was great, man. She's a blessing.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So tell us how, get us into your story a little bit, because so if you're in Mandeville or Covington, is it in Covington?
Yeah, Covington, downtown.
Dry Oak?
Yep.
So Dry Oak is a place you can go for non-alcoholic drinks.
Correct.
Which I think is just an awesome concept in itself. So we're Methodists. Mm-hmm. So part of our history is that Welch's, the grape juice.
Yeah.
He was a Methodist, and the reason he did that is because he wanted to make a grape juice that was unfermented. And so that allowed the people to take communion. So when we serve communion, it's the unfermented grape, and we always talk about it in that way. So it's funny that,
And it's also funny because when I was a kid, I grew up Catholic, but I had friends who were Methodist, and I used to love going to their church because I knew I was going to get
the sweet juice.
And I was like, this is going to be great, So I used to really look forward to that. And I still remember like it was yesterday. I used to go up to the altar and kneel, and they would bring it, and
that's
like,
it.
Man, this is great.
Well, that's and people don't know that, but Welch is pretty famous, and
that's how it got started.
That's how it got started.
Because I think that's how grape juice as a commercial product
100%
got started.
Well, thank you, Methodist Church.
Yeah, exactly. But I just thought about it. I was like, you're just continuing the tradition.
Yeah.
You're like, so Dry Oak as a company is a place that offers alternatives.
So is it like mocktails?
Yeah. So when you walk into the store, we have it separated. To the right of the store, you're gonna have all different types of beers, craft beers. You're gonna have your IPAs, your stouts, your lights, any type of beer. I was a beer connoisseur, so I loved beer, and I loved IPAs, and it was something that I knew I was gonna miss, right?
Yeah.
So when I found these non-alcoholic beers, I was like, man, this is great. So I took my time and I tried different ones throughout the U.S. and throughout the world, and I decided, the ones that we have, to me, were the best ones. And now people, who are sober or just, or going on a health journey, they have something that tastes like good beer.
Right.
And they can partake still in that, that event or that function, anything. And then we also have different champagnes, wines, different spirits, bourbons, vodkas, tequila, gin.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I'm like, how do you get tequila? How do you get vodka to be a non-alcoholic drink?
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's crazy because when me and Kayla started this, we had no idea. Like we knew there was a NA world, but I was just stuck to thinking like it was your Bud Lights or your Coors or your
right. What's the
O'Doul's.
beer? O'Doul's.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, this really isn't going to be that much fun.
You're like, we can't have a store with this. We got a section.
Yeah, and I was like, but no, there's a whole different world, and it is it's fun.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
I find that for me personally, and it might just be what I like, but. I think the IPAs that they've come out with now are exceptional.
No, they really are. And it's funny because I loved IPAs, but I used to, during my addiction, would go for the ones, whatever one had the most alcohol.
Well,
right.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't really enjoy what I was drinking because I was just going straight to the effect, right?
Right.
Now, and then I would drink like however many. Now when I get the good IPA and you pour it and you smell it and you just sit down and relax and have it, I appreciate the craftsmanship, the artistry that goes into the beer.
Right.
And it's great, and that's what I want people to feel too when they're trying it.
Yeah.
But then we also have another side of the store, which is all functional beverages, which is really top seller. Functional stuff. It's going to have different nootropics, adaptogens. You're going to have your ashwagandha, different mushrooms like lion's mane. And then we also have kava. And kava is like...
I love all of these things.
Yeah, kava is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, we have a ginger beer kava that's from New York.
That sounds great.
It's a treat.
It's
great. A treat. Like, I look forward to it. Once a week, I may have one. And I look forward to it. But
yeah, and I think people don't realize, unless they're living a sober life, how difficult it can be, especially so we're in South Louisiana, and South Louisiana, we're a party culture. That's just what we are.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean always, like when we say party, we don't always mean like every single person in the whole place is just drop down drunk at the moment. We mean like you could have a party and people will come and they'll drink and they'll leave later on. And like, especially as you get older, it's less of that like, frat house kind of thing.
Yeah. Sure. But alcohol is somehow imbued in everything in our culture right now.
Funerals.
Yeah, funerals.
We celebrate everything.
Right.
Like,
right.
I mean, we're beautiful. Like, our culture is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like, we're great, but yeah, I mean, we drink for
we
funerals.
do. So when you become sober, it's like suddenly you're like,
As somebody who died of liver failure, and you still have,
yeah, you're like, let's cheers and let's.
I've been there, you know, like
You're burying them with a bottle of Jameson. You're like, oh well, you know, Tom was good.
He died doing what he loved. Like, nah, nah.
I'm sure we made up the pour it out.
Yeah,
exactly,
So
man.
but no, it is. And so when you start to get sober, I have this conversation with people all the time because, in fact, just this morning, honestly.
Yeah.
But when you quit drinking, I told him, I said, you know, when we say that alcohol is the lubrication of like interaction or like, you know, I don't even know what the real quote is, something like that. I've murdered it. But it is.
You're so far from it. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
what are you?
But it is like, you know, when you're in a
social lubricant.
It's a social thing.
Yes.
That's what I was,
sure.
That's
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
And so, but it really is true that like, and so when you stop, you suddenly like, why am I here?
Oh yeah.
Like, what's the point? You know, why do I even talk to you? You know,
Whoa,
what I mean?
man, those are the craziest conversations. Like when you're sitting there and like you're basically breaking up with someone, and like
Yes.
the only thing you had in common was
the
that
alcohol.
drinking.
Yeah.
Because I had those situations where I'm sitting across from someone and I'm just like, dude, who are you?
Right. What are we doing?
What are we doing? I was like, great chapter that we had.
Yeah.
Right.
Great
Right.
chapter.
Right.
But like this guy's moving on. Wish you all the best. You
Wow.
got to grieve a
Yeah,
little bit.
no, you do.
It's a process,
Oh,
even with
yeah.
family with
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
like, you know, you sit across from family and you're like, whoa, you know, like,
Yeah.
what are we doing, you know?
Yeah. No, well, and I'll tell you this is like sobriety will have a greater effect on everyone around you than the opposite is usually true. It's like in the sense of like what I mean is that we draw each other towards where we are. And family, I think sometimes, they can be like, you can get that, well, I'm sober, but you're not sober. But soon enough, you might see that if they see enough life change in you, that they're suddenly like, you know what, I don't.
Well,
don't
I
need
think
that
once,
much, you know?
especially, and I say especially just because I'm short-sighted and only paying attention to my immediate surroundings, but in our environment, it's people genuinely believe it's impossible,
Right.
and they believe that a sober life is a boring life,
Right.
and it couldn't be further from the truth.
No, it's not.
You know, in AA they say we're not a glum lot. You know, and it's true. Being able to model, I mean, it's the same way walking a Christian life. You model, you're showing this is possible. This is what it looks like to live this way, and
It draws.
it's a
People
program
don't
of
realize how
attraction,
much
so to
influence
speak.
they have because sometimes we're self-centered creatures, and so we're like, this was about me. I quit. I needed to quit. You
How
know,
many
like,
people have described themselves, and I don't want to get ahead of you.
Yeah, no.
I would have described myself this way too, and so perhaps maybe you would have. And I think you might as well. You know, it was the life of the party.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude.
Everybody was the life of the party.
Yeah.
Like,
When I was on
it's
speed,
like,
I
no,
was
that
the
party
life of
was
the
still
party.
gonna-
Okay,
that party, exactly,
So,
right.
like, I'd have a
And I would've
10-hour
told you.
conversation with you, and
Yeah,
like
that's
about paper clips, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Can you believe it?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
these somebody invented this. You know, like I go down the whole
I
rabbit
would
hole.
have built like 6 of these.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So like, yeah, when you turn that off, suddenly you're like, who am I?
Yeah.
I can't be that person that I was before.
Yeah.
And
How about you're just a person at the party?
Yeah.
That takes a lot to get used to.
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
It does.
for
And I've
sure.
seen it in friends. I've had friends who were the utmost life of the party.
Yeah.
Like the quintessential, this is the guy that you both worry about and want at every one of your parties, because they're going
That
to,
is me.
that's
100%.
it. That's it. And when that turned off for my friend, I could tell like that it just was so hard.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this is what defined me, was like being that.
Yeah.
And now what am I now?
Yeah. I'm still kind of going through that because I run into people that knew me for what I used to be, and when they find out what I'm doing now,
Yeah.
they're like, no way. Like I think sometimes they think they're dreaming.
They can't believe it.
I can't believe it.
I think you are with the dry oak. I think you are on the cutting edge of something that is going to be popular, very popular. Because I've been noticing the statistics have been shifting away from alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so much so. And I'd love to think, you know, make America healthy again, and that it's all got the best of intentions.
Yeah.
But I have to believe the alcohol lobbies kind of got into the process when all of a sudden they're like, well, you know, a little alcohol is good for you. You know, it's a social lubricant. I'm like, where did that come from?
Man.
Like,
Right.
But I've noticed, and I think it's probably because of the adaptogens and because of the nootropics and all of that stuff that people are kind of realizing like, there are other ways of relaxing that don't necessarily have to be mind altering in that sense. You know, like there's one thing to do. I mean, you can calm yourself down by taking deep breaths. It's not going to change who you are.
Right.
You know, I take 2 shots of bourbon. You're dealing with a different me.
Yeah. Right.
And so it's just different. Like you can seek a relaxation experience or something like that without changing who you are.
And that's what we're seeing. Like, a lot of people are really shifting away, and even people who didn't have problems with drinking, right? Like every
for
day,
health. I mean,
it's crazy. And you're right, the alcohol companies are hurting. They're hurting. And look, people who don't have a problem drinking, look, I'm jealous of you.
Right, 100%.
Right.
I would never tell anyone don't drink.
Right.
You know, me just couldn't do it like a gentleman. Tried over and over. But yeah,
I'll
that's
always
what
have
we're
that conversation with people because, like, you know, when we see a lot of people who are struggling the same way as we were struggling, and they won't realize that they have an issue, and I'll just be like, well, then what would happen if you stop? You know, or what happens if you drink 1 beer?
Yeah,
is that where it ends? And they're like, nah.
No.
Then I drink the whole case.
I know.
You know, and I'd be like, okay,
like,
well, then that might tell you something.
Yeah, but sometimes it's even more subtle than that.
Yeah.
Because like I was the worst kind because I could have 1 drink or I could have 2 drinks, but the next time, you know, or the time after, put it this way, every time I drank, I didn't end up in trouble. But every time I was in trouble,
I was drunk.
it was because I was under the influence. You know, like this. So it's like you can, because it can be.
Well, and there's levels too, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have been in AA meetings where I've like honestly said my position and like where I'm at in my life and how things were. And I'd have like hardened alcoholics be like, I don't think you're an alcoholic. I'm like, trust me, brother. Like, I appreciate that.
Right.
I'm a different brand, but I am most certainly, you know.
And
it's because it leads to.
Yeah, there are differences. But tell us a little bit about your story.
So I'm originally from New Orleans, if you can't tell by the accent. I'm from Chalmette, St. Bernard Parish. I grew up there my whole life up until Katrina. And I tell you, look, my relationship with alcohol.
Let me pause you. For those who are not in Louisiana, parishes are counties.
Counties.
Yes.
Parishes are counties.
You're trying to pull the what everybody else is counties.
Yes.
Just parishes. Here we like to have a whole different set of laws.
Yeah. I just wanted to clarify that in case.
It's like with Lane Kid, it's just different. It's just different.
It's just different.
Everything we do is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I grew up there my whole life. But my journey with alcohol started really, really young. I mean, everyone in their homes has a bar.
Right.
So we grew up. It was very normal. Parents, you know, daiquiri shops on every corner.
Drive through.
My dad would be like, "Hey, y'all can have anything you want in here. He thought if he gives us anything we want, that we'll taste it and it will be terrible, which is what you believe.
It's
at
like
first.
working at the candy shop.
Yeah,
you can eat all the candy you want.
This
First
is really
week
bad.
could be done.
Yeah.
And then, but what he didn't realize is also like, well, we weren't going to stop with just that one try.
What's the fun
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if we didn't like it at first.
Yeah.
So.
You got to acquire a taste for it, and that takes work.
That takes work. We need bottles.
Right.
We need bottles.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I started young, you know, I mean, like we've talked about it, it's so normal here. I mean, you should have saw the faces that we got and the feedback we got when we said we were going to start
a dry bar.
A dry bar.
Yeah.
People were like, I don't know what you're going to do.
They're like, what are you talking about?
They're like, man, is he drunk again?
That's right. Yeah, that's like saying you're going to start a vegan meat shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, doesn't fit.
A vegan deli.
And down here we're so hard headed. Like you can't teach your old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
You know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So it was just always so normal. And as a young kid, we would have events at the house, and I'd see all the adults drinking. I was always one of those kids like, man, I wonder what that's all about. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like 10 years old, and we're having it was a political party we were having. It's 10 or 11. I want to say it was 10 because I was still at one of the little schools down in Chalmette. But anyways, I decided, you know, no one's paying attention to me. I want to taste and see what they're doing, you know.
Yeah.
And I went back there, poured me a little bourbon. No one's looking at this kid, you know. I'm shorter than the bar, so I'm back there. They got 7-Up, you know, pouring it. And I remember that first sip, you know, it's like a warm blanket, you know. And then I always had anxiety. I was always an anxious kid. And then there goes the anxiety. Boom. Yep. And they had rum balls there. I was like, I see what that's all about, you know.
Right.
So, man, my first hangover was at a young age.
Wow.
And it didn't stop, you know. I mean, it stopped after that, but once I hit about 13, where
It went off.
oh yeah, we gotta acquire a taste now.
Yeah, because you get to teenagerism, and you're like, well, if I just power through this right now, I'm gonna finally get and you do.
Yeah.
Like you're like,
Oh yeah.
you know, I mean, I always tell people like, and there are people who drink beer and they're like, man, you know, I really love beer the first time they ever had it. But most people, when they drink their first beer, are like, this is kind of a gross liquid. Like, why am I?
Yeah.
Why?
This is not good.
It's not good. It's like wine. The same with wine. You know, you drink wine. I remember I used to love wine. Love it and love the taste of it, but it didn't start that way. I had to muscle through it. You know, you had to get there. And when you're a teenager, 100%. Finally you're willing to muscle through it.
Yeah,
you know?
and then you know it's cool to do it too down here, right?
Yeah.
Like you're pulling hey misters at the gas station. You know, you're the guy showing up at the party.
I've never heard it described that way. I love that.
And it was exciting.
I have vivid memories. I mean, blurred. It's at times towards the end of the night, it's a blur.
Mostly.
But vivid memories of the like raiding your friend's parents' wet bar, and then taking all the clear bottles and mixing those so that you didn't take too much. Or then the
adding
genius
water.
The genius move. Oh, we'll just add water.
It's just like I think our dad figured that out with his bourbon.
I imagine he would have.
And at some point he tried his bourbon. He's like, what is this?
What is this?
Why is it so dull colored?
It's so dull.
Well, we used to take this is crazy. We used to take dry erase markers and put the line right there, so we would drink it and then know how much we had to fill it back up.
Exactly.
And then you just
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. We were geniuses.
Geniuses.
It's amazing how much work can go into breaking the rules.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just you know continued escalating. Then Hurricane Katrina came. Our parents and that community had way bigger fish to fry than to worry about what we were doing.
Right.
I mean, we never had
because for people
anymore.
who aren't from here, they don't know. Katrina hit different areas and different levels. Chalmette was one that was
hammered.
Basically almost wiped out.
They got hammered. We got hammered.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, but you know, I mean, nobody was IDing then. We were 16 years old walking out with 2 cases of Keystone and nobody blinked an eye, you know.
Right.
Got stat and some Marlboro Lights and we're good to go.
Well, it was kind of a post-apocalyptic world, you know, on the South Shore for a little while after Katrina.
For sure.
Almost.
It was crazy.
The rules were kind of thrown out for a little while.
I always say that's what I think the Wild Wild West was like. It was just no rules.
No.
It was crazy. But then that also it affected us, you know, us kids, because there was a lot of people that we never got to see again, you know. We never got to go back to our homes. We never got to go back to our schools. We lost people.
Yeah.
And at that age, we never really thought too much about it. I mean, it was sad.
Right.
But then as the time goes on, it builds up, and then you have that them scars. It's like, man, this was a crazy thing that happened. And then you saw things as a kid that you probably shouldn't have saw.
Yeah.
I mean, we never really, we're in between New Orleans East and the Ninth Ward, and we're traveling and out. We saw crazy stuff,
Yeah.
and we were mischievous, you know, and that's where we got a lot of stuff from, those two areas. That's when the drugs started coming in, and we started kind of experimenting with that. But yeah, so, Katrina was rough on us, but that's really where my addiction kind of really kicked in. I don't really know a time where I didn't drink or, use a little bit during those times. And then college came, and man, I was on full blast, but it was so normal there.
Right.
I was in a fraternity. I mean, everyone is drinking. Everyone's doing a little bit of, drugs. But it took me, and man, I just couldn't put it down. And I think you had talked about every time you got in trouble was related to alcohol, and that was the same thing with me. I mean,
drugs and alcohol.
Drugs and alcohol. I mean, every time I got in trouble, when I look, it was because of drugs and alcohol. I started doing cocaine a little bit, and Adderall and Vyvanse.
Oh, Adderall was my
You're
love.
good
Man, I gotta take a
love.
deep breath when I say it, because it was a time, man.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then when I realized that I can take that and drink more, that's when I spiraled. It took me off the deep end. I found myself arrested twice, just being, I thought it was normal. I'm in a fraternity. We're doing this.
Everybody else is drinking.
Everybody else, I'm locked up with my buddy. This is gonna be a good story, man.
Right.
And it's a great story, but man, I thought I would have learned my lesson. Never did. It was.
Did you ever hit a point in that time where you and I don't mean to assume anything.
Yeah.
But where you was it? Well, how about this? I'll word it this way: was it possible that you were more messed up than the other people around you and didn't know it? Do you know what I mean? Because
the people I surrounded myself with, we were all. They had some a little bit better, but we all fed off of each other.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I didn't realize I was the ringleader, but because now that I'm sober, like, dude, they're all getting sober and stuff now, but like my wife was like, you were the ringleader.
Yeah.
You know?
You were the guy.
I was the guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were all pretty much on the same page, and we didn't think anything of it,
Yeah. So none of them ever gave you, because I mean, I know what John's talking about. Like, none of them ever gave you the look like,
bro,
look, we're all messed up.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So
you, sir,
you know what I mean? Like,
because I'll give you like a perfect example is like something that would happen frequently if I would go to a party and I would bring a bottle of alcohol and I'm drinking it and the bottle is getting emptier and emptier. Everybody else was drinking too, right? We're all partying. They're like, we did not drink that bottle.
No, that was your bottle.
That was you.
Like,
I had
like
friends of mine who were partiers
Everybody.
who would be like, you need to slow down.
Yeah, yeah.
No, so yeah, definitely. I have one really good friend, and man, he would get upset. He would get upset, and we're the same age, but he's like a big brother to me, like he's the smaller one.
Yeah.
And I knew, man, I let him down all the time. It started out as fun, and I know he was praying every time, like, man, I hope this just stays fun. And he was always, just I could still see him looking at me like, man, please just stop. Like, is the bomb gonna go off? And the same thing with my wife, like, she would look at me like the bomb's about to go off.
Yeah.
Like, but I had a few friends who were like that, and then especially when I got sober, those guys were like so happy. They were just like, this is so great, because I was a great guy sober.
Yeah.
But as soon as
and that's the lie that a lot of people don't understand, is they think that sober I'm nothing.
Well,
and you're like, no, sober you're great. You're great.
I asked one of my very best friends. I was like, we were talking about, it was a kind of a multifaceted conversation, but drugs and alcohol were certainly, my lifestyle at the time was what we were discussing and the type of person I was.
Terrible person. By
Terrible
the way, if you're
person.
wondering.
Awful. Literally the worst. But I was like, but honestly, man, think about it. Like, would y'all have even been friends with me if I wasn't like that? Like, if I wasn't so
Right.
so
This
wild.
is why you like
And my
me.
very good friend was like, bro, we liked you in spite of those things. Like, we would hang out with you for the times before you started acting out. But then when you'd start acting out, it was kind of like, well, here we go.
I think that those are good friends who are looking out for your best interests. But sometimes you have friends that you think you're real close to, and then you find out you no longer have this one thing in common.
Yeah.
And then you like suddenly it's like, well, no, actually, we're not going to spend any time together because now you're not doing the fun things that we're doing.
I think
know
that's
what I mean?
part of every person's story that walked
Yeah.
away from it.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's part of the grieving process. I say like
That's
you're
a
gonna
good word to
lose.
use.
Yeah, you're gonna lose those people.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's part of it.
It is okay.
Because you do go through a
Everybody's
bit
got
of a
their own
denial
journey.
stage where you're like, I can still
you
hang
do.
out.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
I can
like,
still be fun.
all right.
But then you realize when you're there, you're like, oh,
And then
no.
you're like, man, I really don't
Oh,
like this place.
I remember, I just gotten completely sober from Lord just kind of just rocked me and changed my life. And I went into a friend's house who this very close friend of mine was also my drug dealer. And so it was the place I would go to like get high for free. And usually just, we would smoke a whole lot of pot and do other stuff together. But that was our main thing we'd do together. And I remember he was like, look, man, because like in pot culture too, it's the same as like, like they're like, I mean, I'd feel rude if I didn't offer this to you. And I'm like, I appreciate it, man. And you're welcome to do it. Cause at the time I was, I was like, it is what it is. But I'm not gonna participate. Well, soon enough, you find that if those things aren't happening together, then and it's sad. It really is. It's a mourning process. It's a loss of friends, and and it doesn't mean that that can't turn around and go back.
It can, but and most of the time it's you're feeding off of each other. You're both really not doing good in life,
right?
So you're like, oh well, Josh is doing it.
Right. Absolutely,
everything's good.
Absolutely.
And then when you get better, that person's looking like, man, he's really doing great.
Right.
Now I have to look in the mirror and it's just me.
Right.
And that's tough. That's tough. But
how did you where were you in your life when you decided enough was enough? Or is that jumping?
So no. So I mean, look, after college, I graduated and then real life hit, me and my wife was my girlfriend at the time. We had our little girl, Sophia, blessing. And I was literally just moving out of the fraternity house, like literally just moving out. And I was still going fast, going fast. But now I'm hit with daddy duties. And I don't know anything about being a dad. I don't know anything about, being a big boy at all.
Right.
I mean, I was living off of mom and dad in college, living a dream.
Yeah, you're sending this child home with me?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take care of this child. I don't know how this child's going to survive.
But now we have a little girl and she's looking at me and I'm like, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so all the stress comes on me, right? Which, that's my little girl. I had to take care of her. Well, I couldn't find a job, and I'm just I'm working at a marine supply place, just pulling orders, making minimum wage. I have this, at the time I got this bachelor's degree. I should be doing this and that.
Right.
It's a humbling experience.
Right.
But the stress, so I'm just, working, getting off, drinking, stopping at every gas station, getting alcohol, taking 5 Ants Adderall all day, because that's your coffee.
Right.
And, I'm just doing this for years, just, finally get a big boy job, but I'm so full blown into my addiction. Every time I come home, I just fall right back into using and drinking, and it was just exhausting. And I could see with Kayla, like she had to take over because I was just a bull in a china cabinet. We would have few good days, and then we got to do this, and if I'm gonna go party, we're gonna go hard, you know.
And was she drinker too?
Yeah, but nothing like
Not
me.
like you,
and then she can only drink a little bit because she has to watch me.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know, because you don't know what's gonna happen with Taylor.
Yeah.
And you know, so we went through that for years. I wound up when she was pregnant getting a DUI over here in St. Tammany, and you know, that's still, I didn't learn my lesson. You know, for a little bit, like 2 months, I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna be good.
I'm done.
But you know, after that, continued.
Yeah, people also don't realize how often addicts or people who've struggled with addictions or drugs or whatever will have like false moments of sobriety.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you'll be sober for a time,
a time.
but then it just comes rearing back.
Well, because you feel like I can tell you if you're trying to go like just dry and do no work and just like I'm just gonna within days often it comes back even harder and like you get drunker than you were. You know, at least that's been my experience.
And sometimes it's also because you're trying to prove to yourself, you're like, oh, I'm strong. I can quit this anytime I want. I don't have a problem. You kidding me? Come on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I did it.
And then
here's my reward. What's your reward?
Here's my resume. Look, I did too
any
much.
length of sobriety also gives you this kind of impression that like, oh, I'm cured now. I don't have this problem anymore. Look, I've been able to not drink or whatever for so long, and you know, and maybe you can get away with it once, and maybe that second time it's good, and you're like, oh, I'm cured, and kind of baffling and powerful.
I don't know about y'all. Y'all, maybe y'all tell me. I think I would tell you outwardly that I believed that, but inwardly, there was something in me that was always telling me that I was going to come back no matter what.
Yeah, that's the devil.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Voice.
I know that.
You know that voice very well.
No, I know it. I know it very well. But what I'm saying is there was never a time where I quit and I was thinking to myself, this is it. You know.
Well,
like,
in all fairness, it's probably dangerous to like. There's somebody that comes immediately to mind right now who I care about, and you know, he was trying to live a sober life. And then recently was like, oh, you know, I'll have a couple of beers here and there. And look, maybe he can, and he's going to be fine. And I don't want to paint him with my brush, you know, like
right. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different, and so I'm cautious when I say it, but it's like, yeah, maybe, you know. But the trick is, and it sounds cliche, and it is a cliche at this point. But that's why you got to go one day at a time with this stuff. Right. Because if you start thinking never, well, that's a big, you know, I can never do this
that's
again.
The thing. It's like you're like when you're like never.
Yeah.
No.
I find a lot.
I'll show you. I'm strong enough for a time, but never. I don't really believe that.
Look,
not for
and never say never. I just need to stay sober today.
Just today. Like God only knows what's gonna happen.
That's right.
With us, right? And people ask me that all the time because look, working in the industry I work in.
Oh yeah, man.
Like they drink. But they'll be like, so you're never gonna drink again? I said, listen, I know I'm not gonna drink today.
Right.
Tomorrow we'll take that on.
Right.
Tomorrow we'll worry about itself.
But today
there's a scripture that says tomorrow
we should
will
let
worry
the Bible
about itself.
speak.
Yep. Jesus said tomorrow, you know, today has enough worries of its own. Tomorrow will worry about itself.
So today we're sober. Tomorrow we'll wake up. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like trying to get sober and telling yourself that, I can do it. Right. Oh yeah, you're just doing a check marks. You're like, I've been a good boy.
It's done.
Yeah, it's done.
It's almost like
I'm going to reward myself.
Right. And then
that's the funniest one. Right. You know, I made it 3 days. I deserve this.
So good. You did so great. You know,
and you know, wives will let you get away with that stuff too,
they will.
Or spouses, because they're so desperate they're so happy. Like, you know what? Yeah, I guess you do.
That was my wife.
And we're broken. We're broken people. Like, I mean, you know, so there's a sense in which, you know, I'll just speak for myself, but for my wife, and we weren't married yet, but when I suddenly now living a sober life, and
this is where you need to paint your wife as a raging alcoholic for all of our listeners, which is not true at all.
She still drinks, you know, like even to this day, but she's never had an issue, like never. Like she just, because she's small, like you're saying, and it's like, you know, I always told her she's the cheap date. You know, and but I remember like whenever I first got sober, she was like, "Oh, you're taking away." She kind of was like, "You're taking away the Josh that I know." You know, the one that like and it's because she didn't realize how really bad it was. Like she never, because I didn't show it to her. Like I was smart enough to like, look, it's easy not to get people to tell you got a problem. You just hide it from all of them. You know what I mean?
To clarify, though, for those who aren't familiar with your story, this is before y'all got married.
This is before we got married, and you know,
so y'all were
we were in a different situation,
because they'd be like, your wife didn't know how bad you were, which maybe to some extent. My wife
no, this was before. This is when we were dating,
right?
And when we were dating, like I didn't let anybody really, like my friends got it because they saw enough of me messing up to know that I had like beyond just we're let's do social drugs and all. Everybody's getting drunk, which is terrible in and of itself. But they would look at me like, oh, you're special. Like you can't control yourself at all. Like zero when it comes to. It was always speed for me. Like, it was just like I couldn't. So I'd steal from a friend or do it, but nobody, nobody knew the extent of it besides the ones I would do those drugs with, and so my wife, she was like, whenever she's like, well, I don't know if because in her mind is like the fun side of you was. You know, and I it's not all her fault. It's also because when I became sober, I also became a little bit bitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't have an escape. You know, and so you're suddenly having to live life with the edge of it, and you maybe you don't like, oh, isn't life so good together? You know, like because when you're drinking, like you said, now you have more anxiety. Now you have stuff.
The good thing is you get your feelings back. The bad thing is you get your feelings
back.
Yeah,
exactly.
Man, hey, that first year is rough because you are better.
Yeah,
and I mean that's when you have to do the work on yourself. You know, and like you're finally realizing the things you like, the things you don't like, and the things that you don't like are the things that you used to like, and you're trying to figure out what happened.
Yes,
but the thing that happened is. You got rid of your addiction, like you changed, and
I wonder. I wonder if you can speak to this at all, if this has been part of your experience. But when you have a spouse in active addiction, like when you're in active addiction and you have your spouse, the spouse ends up developing their own coping mechanisms.
Yeah,
you know, and just because you get better. Those coping mechanisms might still be in effect. And there's this weird transition where it's like you have to figure out how to live together again. You know, like for a while, like
because they have to heal.
That's right.
They have to heal.
That's right.
And like that's why I love what we do, because when we get people, my wife deals with the spouse, you know, when we talk to them, because so many times the spouse is just like, why is he like this? Why can't he stop? And my wife was like that. And I'm sure y'all can relate to things like that. And it's like, we don't want to be like that. We don't, you know, and the process is, you know, everyone needs to heal. Yeah. Everyone needs to heal.
Well, and I think along that side is it's like, it's what you're saying is 100% fact, because, and there's a kind of a double side to it, because your wife or your spouse can be like, I want this all to stop. But then if it does stop, sometimes that begins to reflect their own struggles.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, I don't get the nice, quiet glass of whatever, pick your choice, with you before this happens. You know, like I just wanted the real, like terrible addiction to stop, but can't you just be, you know, normal? Like, can't you be where you can deal with drinking, you know? And it's like, you know, it's.
And I believe we went through that, and when I explained it to her, it's like, we can't just have one. Yeah. It's like a shark, right? A shark doesn't want to eat you, but as soon as it tastes that blood, can't stop.
That's it.
And that's the alcohol, as soon as I get a taste of alcohol, my brain just goes the other way, and it's like full speed ahead. Where's the drugs? And we're gonna party.
That's it.
And this is gonna be,
especially if I've jumped off.
If I jumped
you may as well.
Right.
Yeah, because there's never
already
enough.
done.
Yeah, there's never enough there. Like,
right.
It's It's funny to think about it, but
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean,
so what changed? What changed? Like,
what changed?
yeah, what changed?
So I'll tell you, like I told y'all before, I grew up Catholic. I always went to Catholic schools. I used to just go through the motions of, going to church. You go Sunday.
Right.
I always knew there was God, but I never, like I said, I just went through the motions. My wife and my children were always really big in faith, and I would go just to support them. I thought, man, I knew I couldn't be fixed. I thought, and I said, man, if there was a God, like, why won't He fix me? Well, my wife one day was like, hey, we're going to church. The kids are staying with my mom, and I was like, man, I was exhausted at this time of my addiction because I had a plan. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the rest of the drugs. I'm gonna drink. I'm not gonna wake up. And she was like, obviously she didn't know that. But so we go to church, and I used to sit all the way at the top because all the people down there, crazy. Yeah. I was like, the hands up. I was like, I don't want
I'm not having
I just want to be here and just be the guy.
Right.
Nobody bother me.
Right.
So we go.
We're back row sitters.
Yeah, we're back row sitters.
We're back row sitters.
And as service ends, she looks at me, and she's like, hey, we're gonna get prayed over. I was like, now I got to go down there all the way to the front, and someone's gonna pray over me? It's not gonna happen. She's like, no, you're gonna get prayed over. So I go up. There's a whole bunch of people praying over people, and I was just drawn to this one lady, and my wife's like, tell her. So I was like, I want to get prayed over, and the lady's just smiling at me. She's like, well, what's going on? I was like, I just need to get prayed over. My wife's like, tell her the whole story. So I told the lady, I was like, listen, I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic. I can't get rid of it. I can't shake it. I'm exhausted. And she starts talking to me, and she's praying over me. And I said, you know what? I tried everything. So I said, God, if you take this, I will do anything. I get the goosebumps every time I talk about it because you hear these stories and you're like, that'll never happen to me.
Right.
And I'm like, if if you're real, you know what I'm going to do after this. I was like, please take this. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, I'm letting my family down. I'm letting myself down. And I know there's some purpose for me. Just show me. And I just felt it. It just ripped off. And I heard him say, it's finished. It's done. Wow. And man.
You know the last words, of course.
Yes.
That Jesus said on the cross.
Yes. And I was like, my wife said she just felt me like just go, like I just got lighter.
Wow.
And I was like, no way. And so when we were leaving, she was like, what happened? I was like, I'm done. I was like, I don't know what I have to do, but I know it's going to be a long journey. But I said, if I listen to what He tells me to do, He's gonna show me my purpose, and I'm gonna live it out. And just one thing after another. Now look, it wasn't easy.
No, right.
It wasn't at all. But man, I was at peace with it.
Yeah.
I was like, and still to this day, when something happens, I'm like, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Well, and that's I think I've had this conversation before, which is that. I've had somebody tell me, well, maybe just matured, maybe just grew up, and I was like, and I think back to the time, and I was like, no, there's nothing that I could have done to break free, from where I was, nothing, but suddenly there was a power in me that was greater than my strength, and so we could have said it 100 times before. It was, I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to do this again.
Say it.
100
right.
times before. And then we did.
Yeah.
And it's because we didn't have the strength. We didn't have the will. I love whenever I got sober, and had my life changed by God. Somebody say the first time I heard them say that, you have such strong willpower, and I was like, no, I don't.
Quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite. I'm the weakest, man, for real. But God is so good, and He can take it from you, which is it's just unbelievable.
Just gotta let Him.
You gotta let Him.
You gotta let Him, man.
I love that your story is coming up to the altar and having this person pray for you.
Yeah. and now I sit in the front with the crazy people.
You did?
Yeah.
If I could sing or play the drums
Right.
or play, I would be up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just amazing. I thought it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
You know, I would have dreamt of even being here in 2026. Sober, I thought I would be dead by now. At least, 4 years ago.
Right.
I've been sober 4 years. But yeah, it's just the best, man.
God is good.
God is good. And, throughout this journey with the Dry Oak, he's done amazing, amazing things. Because we originally started as another company, and someone took our name, went and got it trademarked, sent us a letter.
Cease and desist.
And we were opening in 3 weeks.
Cold.
And everything was printed.
Cold.
And I was out at work when my wife had told me, and I was like, okay, we need to figure this out. So I said, I'm going to go pray and I'm going to go work out. And that's what I did. And I came back to my room. I called my wife and I said, how about the Dry Oak? And she started laughing. And she said, do you know what those initials are? I said, no. TDO. That's my initials, the Dry Oak. And I'm like, you just,
Praise God.
Yeah.
Praise God.
Just amazing, amazing.
How did sober living, I'm about to say living sober, because I think sober living is a trademark. How did living sober carry you to, or no? At what point in time did having a sober life lead to, I think we can start a business and
Yes.
cater to.
So I started, I'm a social guy. I still love Mardi Gras. I still love festivals. I love LSU, Saints. I still want to do all those things. Well, a lot of those, I would try to get sober and I would go to those things and there would be nothing for me. So what I would do, I would just get the beer or get the bourbon and I'd just fall off.
Yeah.
And so when I finally was really good, was like, this sobriety thing is amazing. I really like it. I started looking around and we were at a wedding and I was like, man, I fell off a lot of times at weddings and I'm not going to drink a Shirley Temple. I'm not going to drink water, Sprite, Coke. I'm just not
seltzer,
going to.
I get a seltzer all the time.
Yeah. And I was like, what could we do to make people who are sober or just health conscious feel included? So we started these tap bars. And I started filling them up with mocktails and different non-alcoholic beers. And we started renting them out. And it kind of took off. And people really were enjoying it. We did a sober gras. Man, the Southern is amazing. They've been so amazing to us, letting us host all kinds of events there.
Wow.
But people really took a liking to it. And they were like, man, where do y'all get this stuff from? And we were like, man, we know where to get it from. We should open up kind of like a Martin's wine cellar with non-alcoholic stuff. So that's what happened. We fell into a place downtown Covington, just at the perfect time. Literally was leaving to go back out to sea in a few hours. And this guy, someone gave us his number. Like, hey, you should call this guy. He might have a spot. Sure enough, that day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to put down all this money and we're going to open up a non-alcoholic bottle shop. And we've been open a year and a few months, and it's been great. We're always getting new people.
So y'all do sell, it's not just like where you go up to a bar and order, you also sell the...
We sell the bottles. We have cases of beer, kava milk.
I'm embarrassed that I have not been to your establishment.
And y'all do like social.
So we do events.
Yeah.
People have us go to their homes or anything, and we go do events. Our next thing that we want to do is open up a lounge to where people can come, kind of like a coffee shop.
Yeah.
But still get, still like after work hours where you can go relax. Watch the game, listen to music, and get craft mocktails, still get the same experience, and just feel included.
So what's the environment like right now? Because I haven't been, so I guess in my mind, it was like a bar that.
Yeah. So what it is now is a retail shop.
Okay.
So it would be like walking into, any type of liquor store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But people come and like they hang out. They drink their drinks and there. It's just a fun community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
People come all the time. We tell stories.
I bet you hear great stories.
Great stories.
Yeah.
Our old war stories and but I tell you what, the best thing for me is like we're always gonna get women. Women are so open with their emotions and everything. But when I get men like us that come in and I see that they're kind of on the fence with this whole, but they're questioning, they're drinking, and then they come and they kind of just like spill the beans to me, and I watch their shoulders lower and watch them rebuild their family or their career.
Yes.
Man, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
It is. And, reintroduce them to Christ because I'm really big at that. I'm not pushy about it.
Yeah.
But I tell them my story and what God can do and what He will do.
Well, that's the witness.
Yes.
Like the people don't understand, but the Scripture talks about us as witnesses. Mm-hmm. So, what are you supposed to tell people? What you witnessed.
Yeah.
Like that's what if you were when they had to replace Judas as one of the 12, they said we need somebody who was with us the whole time and witnessed what we witnessed.
Yeah.
So that's our job. It's people always think we're like I got to be a theologian and
No.
I got to get all that stuff straight.
In fact, sometimes that can complicate things.
Yes.
You can argue somebody's theology, you can debate them on, biblical history and all of these other areas. But you can't really debate somebody on their story.
Right.
No, you can't.
Their testimony. I mean, you can choose not to believe it.
Yeah.
But you can't really. I mean, you can't poke holes in it. I mean, I know you certainly, because you have a pretty remarkable story that people love to try to. Well, how do you know you weren't hallucinating? How do you know you didn't do that?
Only because I've hallucinated a million times.
Exactly. Like
and it wasn't
I
any
have
of
a lot
the,
of experience.
Wasn't like that at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a professional of hallucinations.
And we've said it 100%. But we said it several times on this podcast, and I know I stole it from someone far smarter than me. But you might be the only Bible somebody ever reads.
Yeah.
Your testimony might be the only glance at the
towards
truth.
Jesus.
Yeah, and so we should share that.
Yeah.
Right. Almost like let the Bible speak.
Almost like let the Bible speak
out of your life.
That's right.
Yeah.
Almost, man. That's an incredible story. And what do you say to the people who are like, where you were 4 years ago, and they're really considering like they're like, I think I'm gonna get sober, or I want to try the God thing out, or what would you tell you 4 years ago?
Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
I wish I would have surrendered a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it just wasn't my time. I had to go through what I went through to be where I'm at right now. But it's, I used to think it was so weak. I used to sit outside of AA halls and just look at it. And I would judge people who were going in.
Yeah.
And I'd say, nah, that's not me.
Yeah.
That's not me. Or, that person's weak for going there. It's not a weakness. That's the biggest strength.
It is.
Some of the strongest.
I'll tell you what, when I walked through my first AA meeting, it was like, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I am admitting that I'm powerless.
Yeah.
But man, you can do it. You just have to surrender, and you have to become real with yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to do it for you. I try to do it for so many people.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work that way. And we hear that all the time. And it's true. But yeah, it's a strength. Do not feel weak. And there's so many people who are willing to help.
Yes.
And we're proud to help.
Yes.
We're
We're grateful.
Us
We're
helping
grateful.
you
It's a grateful thing.
helps us.
Helps us.
I think the embarrassment, and I think that's a tool of the devil. It's to keep us locked in our addiction and destroying ourselves and all those around us. Because I think the embarrassment is thinking like we think we're so unique in our problem.
Yeah.
And if only, I've literally told people that knew far better, like if you understood what it was like to be me, you would tell me to do cocaine. Like I literally have had that conversation in my life with somebody, and it's like it's just not true. It's not true at all. And one of the real virtues, because if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't need to go to a meeting it's the meeting isn't magical.
No.
The meeting is not the magic.
No, in fact,
what is incredible is to sit in a room full of strangers and hear your story come out of other people's mouths, and you're just like go and be quiet for the first, just go and commit to going for a little bit and listen, actually listen. And I think early meetings are the best, because those are the people who are like getting up early and really want to be there.
Right.
But that's just me being, that's a personal preference. But go and you will hear your story come out of other people's mouths, and you'll realize that, other people feel ashamed. Other people feel embarrassed about their, that's probably one of the greatest things about going to AA is being able to hear people, like being able to relate to other people, and then see that they've done it, that they're 4 years sober, 5 years, 20, 30 years sober.
I love those guys, man.
Nothing phases them. It's amazing.
The amount of wisdom, it's so great. I love it.
Yeah, for me, whenever my life got changed, there was a determination. It's exactly what you're talking about, but there was a determination. I had lied to myself for so long, and I believed the lies.
Yeah.
I believed them. And so it's crazy when you realize, like, I thought maybe I'd lie to myself, but I'd always know when I was lying. But I didn't.
But you're
I
good at
didn't. I was good. I'm good at it. Yeah. But then once that changed, I realized the best way to protect myself is to be honest. To be as honest, and some people would tell me, they'll be like, "Why are you sharing that?"
Yeah,
they're like, "I cannot believe."
We hear that a lot,
right?
Actually,
why would you? And it's like, I'm sharing it because it's the thing I want to live in the light with the Lord. And what's funny is, like, y'all talked about the meetings. I wasn't an AA guy. Like the Lord thankfully delivered me in such a way. It was just, and it's not the normal. Like, I don't think it's the everyday. But I will say, like, everything that AA teaches, it's the scripture.
Yeah.
I had a guy who came to me, and he had an issue with drinking, and we started working through what I was going to take him through with what it means to be a Christian and what it means to follow Jesus. And at one point I was like, you might want to go to an AA meeting. And he did. And he's like, they taught me everything that you just told me. Like, it is the exact same stuff, which is like, realize you don't have power, that God is the one who's in control, that you have to come into light. You have to be honest about what's going on in your life, because you're never going to deal with it. And the scripture, from the very first book, teaches us that when Adam and Eve sinned, what did they do? They hid. They hid away. They were ashamed. It was the first time we read that word, is shame.
Yeah.
And so the way you deal with shame is you be honest.
Yeah.
You find somebody you can trust. You know what I mean? You don't just do it with, like,
on a podcast.
Right, on a podcast.
It feels so much better to take all those skeletons and say, "Here." I tell my wife all the time, I'd be the worst politician, because they'd be like, "You did." I'd be like, "Everyone." I'd be
like, "You're right."
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Everyone knows. Like, just go check out my Instagram page. Or podcast.
Ask me what I haven't done. We'll save time.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
But so much better to be honest.
It is.
It is. It's such a better life, and I'm so thankful.
I'm grateful
thankful for guys like us. I hope people see this and are inspired.
I hope so,
because
too.
We were all at a rough patch.
Yeah, 100%.
And now look at us. I think we look pretty good now.
Well, I heard it. I pump the brakes, Josh. A little unkempt, but you know, no.
Bedhead?
A little bedhead. As my shades are over here.
Yeah.
The sobriety always looks good on you. You know, like it always does.
Now, let me give a caveat to that, which is it takes time.
Absolutely,
it takes time. You have to get used to what it looks like.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people coming off, they're like, "What do I do now?" Their reward centers are completely destroyed.
Yeah.
So like they're like, the way I celebrated or the way I gave myself, you know, some sort of pleasure was always around this drug. So now that's gone. So I guess I'm just going to be depressed.
Oh, and your body's also not going to be chemically capable of feeling certain things for a while. It takes a while.
It takes
but that's,
a while.
I think, why being in a community of people who can encourage you, who can make you laugh, who can make you laugh at yourself.
Right.
You know, I think that's also
And
one
not
of
take
those
yourself so
benefits of
seriously
going.
too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It takes work, but it absolutely will look way better on you than than what you were doing before.
Well, and
I promise.
that's what I told. There was a guy who recently gave his life to Christ at our church, and he did it like the Lord encountered him, not at the church, but on a different day. But he told me about it, and I could just see it on him, the newness. You know, I could see it's a beautiful thing to it's a beautiful thing to witness.
Yeah.
And but I told him, I said, look, if I was talking to me 20 years ago now, almost, I would say, your father loves you so much. He loves you so much. And it's going to be better than you could ever have imagined or planned for. And you got nothing to worry about. He's got you. He loves you. And so, you know, I think understand, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But the Lord, with the Lord, it's going to be easy. You know what I mean? Like, wait, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for my burden is light and my yoke is easy. Yeah. And you will find rest for your souls. So I'm glad. Well, we're glad that you could be on with us,
absolutely.
man.
I'm glad y'all had me. This was awesome.
Yeah, awesome, good. Yeah, I knew it would be good. The moment I heard you start talking about your story, I was like, all right, well, we're gonna have to get him on.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all did.
Yeah, and so if people want to check you out, where is Dry Oak located exactly?
So we're downtown Covington, 501 North Bayard Street, Suite 4. If you're familiar with
North Bayard.
Bayard, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the accent.
I know. That's what I was saying. That's why I wanted to clarify.
You know where Lola, Lola and Haven were right across from them.
Okay, awesome. So go check them out.
I will be there.
Yeah, go check them out and come to the Reminding and check them out too. So we love great. Can you want to pray for us? Yeah, let's pray.
Sure. Let's pray. Good and gracious God, we thank you so much for the podcast, for this time that we get together. Lord, I thank you for every day that we remain free from our addiction, Lord. That prison was dark and deadly, and you saved us, Lord, and so for that we are grateful. Lord, I also want to pray for all of those that might be listening to this, or maybe somebody has shared this podcast with someone who might need to hear it. I pray for that person, Lord. I pray for anybody who finds themselves behind the bars of addiction, and that's all they are, Lord. They are bars, but they are meant to be broken, and you are the way. And so I pray, Lord, that you touch them, that you speak to them, that you show them and convince them that there is a life apart from the sin that they're living in, and that these habits, that's all they are, Lord. They're habits that we have developed, and they're destructive, and you want better for us. And so I pray for all of those who are struggling, who are chained by addiction. I ask you that to bless them and help them find their way, and I ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for listening to Let the Bible Speak. If you'd like to support us, subscribe to the podcast by clicking that little plus symbol on your phone until it becomes a check mark. You can also share these episodes with a friend. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at letthebiblespeakpodcast@gmail.com. If you write us at letthebiblespeak@gmail.com, we will not receive your email, so make sure it is letthebiblespeakpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks.